Let us make man in our image and let them have dominion. That is not poetry. That is not symbolism. That is not religion. That is the original mandate. That is heaven's opening decree over your life. Not to blend in, not to bow down, not to barely survive, but to dominate. You were not born to experiment with life. You were born to execute. You were not made to wonder why you're here. You were sent here to solve something. From the very foundation of the earth, the purpose of your creation was stamped into your spirit, dominion. And when God declared that statement in Genesis 1:26, he never revoked it. Man fell, but the mandate stood. Sin entered, but the assignment remained. Religion formed, but the kingdom stayed original. And I came to tell you today, you were born for dominion. The kingdom is within you. And until you understand this, you will continue to live like a confused refugee in a world you were created to govern. Let me ask you something. Do you feel like you're truly walking in dominion? Or are you just reacting to life day after day like a man trapped on a treadmill of endless repetition? Because I've seen too many people, good people, talented people, even church people wasting time, spinning their wheels and calling it faith. But the truth is, they are disconnected from purpose. And when purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. When you don't know why time was given to you, you'll waste it. When you don't know how to handle change, it will destroy you. Hear me, there are only two things you will face every single day of your life: time and change. You cannot control either one. You cannot stop either one. You can only manage them. And whoever manages time and change determines their future. Your life right now is the sum total of how you've handled time and change up to this point. And what you will become in the next 10 years will be the result of how you handle time and change going forward. This is not just a principle, this is a kingdom strategy. So I want you to pause and ask yourself, how have I handled the last 12 months? Don't shout Happy New Year and not ask what you did with the last one. What did you do with the gift of time God gave you last year? Did you trade it for television and comfort? Did you invest it into people who had no vision? Did you let it drift away in distractions and excuses? Or did you take dominion over it and multiply it like the faithful servant? Because hear me, God does not judge years. He judges how you use them. And every year that passes makes you more accountable to your purpose. You don't get to press pause on destiny. Every second you live is pulling you closer to your appointment with God. And when you meet him, he will not ask, how many years did you live? He will ask, what did you do with the time I gave you? You see, the devil isn't afraid of your dreams. He's afraid of your discipline. Because dreams without strategy are delusions. And what most people call faith is really fantasy. They're waiting for God to do what he already told them to plan. That's why I came here to shake you, to wake you, to stir up the gift inside you and make you realize you do not have forever. Your life is on a clock. The book of Job says, man's days are determined. God has decreed the number of his months and set limits he cannot exceed. That means you don't decide how long you live. You only decide how well you live. And let me be clear, longevity is not the same as fulfillment. Jesus only lived 33 years, but he died completed. He said, it is finished, not I'm out of time. The goal is not to live long, it's to finish well. That's why the first step toward reclaiming your dominion is to understand the power of time. Time is more than a ticking clock. It is the currency of purpose. It is heaven's investment into your assignment. And like all investments, it comes with an expectation of return. God gave you 365 days. What will you give him back? God gave you 12 months. What are you birthing from them? If you've wasted the last season, don't condemn yourself, but don't lie to yourself either. Confront the gap between who you are and who you were born to be. Because the longer you ignore it, the more painful it becomes. And if you don't change, life will force you to. Change doesn't ask for permission. It comes whether you're ready or not. So the only way to thrive in life is to plan for what is uncontrollable. Let me make it plain. The only defense against change is planning. You don't control change, you outmaneuver it. You don't resist time, you master it. And the only way to do that is with strategic planning. Don't just wish for a better year, plan it. Don't just hope for a breakthrough, schedule it. Don't just desire growth, map it out. If you go through another 12 months without a plan, change will devour you. You'll be caught off guard, you'll be overwhelmed, you'll be confused. But if you walk into your year with a kingdom plan, time will submit to your vision and change will serve your purpose. So I want to ask you, what is your plan? Not just your dreams, not just your feelings. What is your plan? Proverbs says, commit your plans to the Lord and they will succeed. That means God doesn't bless vague wishes. He blesses clear strategy, because proposed without a plan is just potential waiting to die. And some of you have been living with unfulfilled potential for too long. But this year, this season, this is the time where you draw a line and say no more. I will not live another year in confusion. I will not walk through another season disconnected from clarity. I will not carry dreams that I never translate into discipline. I will not let distractions destroy my dominion. This is the year I take back control, not over others, but over myself. And that's why I came to tell you the kingdom is within you. And if the kingdom is within you, then the culture of heaven is already alive inside your spirit. You are not a victim of your surroundings. You are a carrier of solutions. You are not a slave to systems. You are a son of strategy. You don't need to look for outside confirmation. The confirmation is already in your calling. What you need is not a new word. You need a new work ethic. What you need is not another prophecy. You need a practical plan, because your future is not determined by God alone. It is determined by how well you steward what God gave you. So stop making excuses. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. The Bible says, he who observes the wind will never sow. And if you don't sow, you can't reap. So I challenge you before you pray for harvest. Ask yourself, what am I planting? What am I building? What am I stewarding? Because the kingdom does not respond to wishes, it responds to faith in action. Faith without works is dead. And a year without strategy is a setup for regret. You were not created for regret, you were created for results. Now let me bring this closer. I'm not preaching this to impress you, I'm preaching this to deliver you. Because I know what it feels like to live under pressure, to watch the calendar flip and wonder if you're any closer to purpose. I know what it feels like to carry a calling and still struggle with clarity. But I also know what it feels like to wake up and realize that today is still under my control. That God gave me time, and if I manage it right, I can redeem everything I lost. That change does not have to scare me, because I serve a God who never changes. And if I align with his kingdom, I can walk through any season without fear. I want you to hear me clearly. Change is not your enemy. It is not a threat, it is an opportunity for dominion. But only if you're prepared. That's why God gave you time, so you could plan. That's why he gave you seasons, so you would have windows to transform. And when you waste your season, you miss your cycle. Listen, even in agriculture, you can't reap in winter what you fail to sow in spring. Life has seasons. And if you don't learn how to discern your season, you'll be frustrated and bitter when the harvest doesn't come. It's not because God didn't bless you, it's because you didn't align. And the key to alignment is planning. If you don't know what you're doing, how will you know when to do it? If you don't have a vision for your next 90 days, how can heaven align resources on your behalf? Because heaven responds to clarity, destiny respects order, and purpose submits to structure. So I challenge you, don't just be emotional, be executional. Emotions make you cry, but strategy makes you change. The devil doesn't fear your tears, he fears your discipline. That's why Jesus didn't just come and die. He came with a plan. He said, I must be about my Father's business. He operated on divine schedule. He was never late, never rushed, never reactive. He managed time and purpose with such precision that even death couldn't stop him from finishing on time. That is the model. And if CHRIST is in you, then excellence is your default. Order is your standard. Timing is your weapon. You were not created to be sloppy with life. You were not designed to drift from season to season. You were created to take dominion. And dominion requires mindset. You have to stop thinking like a slave and start thinking like a king. Slaves wait for instructions. Kings make decisions. Slaves fear change. Kings use change. Slaves react. Kings plan. That's why most people stay stuck, not because they lack opportunity, but because they refuse to upgrade their thinking. They want miracles without movement. They want fruit without farming. But God doesn't bless laziness. He blesses stewardship. And stewardship begins with strategy. That's why Jesus said, no man builds a tower without first counting the cost. If you don't plan for the next phase, you're not ready to enter it. And some of you are praying for next level favor while still thinking with basement blueprints. You must become a strategic son of the kingdom. Now let me bring in some kingdom repetition, because you need to hear this over and over again until it drops from your head into your heart. You were born for dominion. Say it again. You were born for dominion. You're not a random human trying to survive earth. You are a sent ambassador, planted in time to execute a divine assignment. The kingdom is within you. That means the culture of heaven is not something you go to church to find. It's already encoded in your spirit. You don't carry church, you carry government. And until you understand what you carry, you keep living below your inheritance. Because you cannot lead what you do not understand. You can't lead your life, your business, your home, your ministry until you understand who you are and what you have. Let me tell you, God never gives you what you ask for. He gives you what you can manage. And if you don't have a system for managing your assignment, you will forfeit favor. Some of you are asking for things that would crush you if they arrive today. You want increase, but you haven't structured the inner infrastructure. You want to go global, but you haven't mastered your own mind. You want to disciple nations, but you haven't taken dominion over your calendar. Let me be real with you. Before God gives you more, He's going to ask, what did you do with what I already gave you? And the answer must not be a feeling, it must be a result. That's why I'm preaching this with urgency. Because this is not just a new year, it's a new ERA. And in this era, kingdom people must rise with clarity, with strategy, and with spiritual intelligence. No more emotional religion. No more waiting for prophecy to save you. No more living off other people's vision boards. It's time for you to download heaven's blueprint for your life and get to work. The only thing that can interrupt time is propose. The only thing that redeems time is planning. And the only thing that pleases God is strategic obedience. Now I want to make it personal. I didn't come from royalty. I didn't grow up in luxury. I came from an island with limited options and limited exposure. But what changed my life wasn't geography, it was revelation. When I discovered the kingdom, I stopped waiting and started building. I stopped blaming and started designing. I stopped surviving and started multiplying, because I realized I am not a product of my past. I am a product of God's purpose. And I was given time to execute it. That's why I wake up early. That's why I maximize my days. That's why I plan my year before the calendar begins. Because I don't have the luxury to drift. I'm on assignment, and so are you. You see, you were never created to be normal. You were called to be a nation shaper, but you cannot shape nations if you don't master mornings. You can't lead movements if you can't manage Mondays. God won't give you influence over cities if you can't even manage your own schedule. This is the year where small thinking must die. This is the year where compromise gets evicted. This is the year where you stop entertaining distractions and start embracing your destiny. You are not here to play, you are here to plan. You're not here to blend, you are here to build. And you don't need another prophet to tell you this, because the proof is already inside you. The kingdom is within you. So don't wait until the 1st of January to reset. Every day is a new beginning. Every hour is a fresh mercy. Every breath is another chance to realign with purpose. But don't confuse mercy with permission. God has not given you more time to wander. He's given you more time to finish. That's why Paul said, I have finished my course. Not I lived a long time. Not I made it to 90. He said, I finished. That's the goal. You don't need to impress people. You need to complete your mandate. Because heaven will not reward you for being busy. It will reward you for being effective. And effectiveness begins with planning. So I ask you again, what's your plan? For your mind, for your ministry, for your health, for your relationships, for your finances, for your influence? What's your plan for growing in the Word? What's your plan for discipling others? What's your plan for resting without guilt? Because rest is not laziness, it's strategic renewal. And you cannot dominate from an exhausted spirit. You must protect your focus like a warrior. Because if the enemy can't destroy you, he'll distract you. And distraction is just delayed destiny disguised as activity. That's why I keep repeating it. You cannot lead what you do not understand. If you don't understand time, you'll waste it. If you don't understand purpose, you'll mislabel people. If you don't understand process, you'll abort development. And if you don't understand kingdom, you'll substitute it with church culture. But church without kingdom is just noise. Kingdom is what gives your life governmental meaning. Kingdom is not a buzzword, it's a blueprint. And if you align with it, you will see fruit that doesn't fade. You will walk in favor that doesn't fluctuate. You will operate in authority that doesn't bow to storms. So I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to activate you, to awaken the dormant parts of you, to stir the gifts that life tried to bury, to ignite the divine frustration that refuses to settle. You were not created to manage crumbs. You were created to own the table. But the table won't come to you. You must prepare for it. And when you prepare, God will provide. When you plan, heaven will partner. When you move, resources will meet you. Because the universe doesn't respond to indecision. It responds to intentionality. And so I speak to your spirit now, not just your emotions. I declare over your life that this is the season where clarity breaks delay, where strategy breaks stagnation, where order breaks oppression, where focus breaks fear, where discipline breaks generational dysfunction, and where purpose breaks poverty. Because you were not called to be a consumer. You were called to be a creator. You don't react, you initiate. You don't follow, you lead. You don't apologize for being different. You dominate with purpose. Now here is where your life takes a shift. I'm not here to inspire another goosebump. I'm here to ignite a generation. I am sounding an alarm to every dormant leader, every silent lion, every buried son, every woman with a womb full of nations. Tis time to activate. No more delay, no more distraction, no more defeatist vocabulary. This is the season of bold kingdom leadership. The earth is not waiting for another politician. The earth is not groaning for another performance. The earth is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. And sons don't wait for change, they bring it. Sons don't ask for permission, they execute with heaven's authority. Sons don't fear culture, they create culture. And I'm telling you right now, wherever you're reading this, sitting in a room or listening behind a screen, you are not ordinary, you're not disposable. You are not confused, you are not weak. You are a son, a daughter, a carrier of the kingdom. And the kingdom is within you. You were born in this generation, not by accident, but by assignment. And the pain you survive is just proof of the weight you were called to carry. The pressure you've endured is the sign that purpose is trying to push through. The confusion you faced was not because you lacked intelligence, it was because you were surrounded by systems that never trained you to think like a kingdom leader. But now the veil has been lifted. You cannot go back to normal. You cannot return to average. You cannot stay neutral. Once you've heard the call of kingdom destiny, you must respond. Because if you don't move now, everything around you will start screaming that you were built for more. Your job will feel too small. Your conversations will feel too shallow. Your comfort zone will start to suffocate you. That's the Holy Spirit saying, wake up, it's time. And here's what I'm going to tell you, and you might need to write it down. Comfort is a thief. Comfort will rob you of dominion and sell your calling for convenience. But you cannot fulfill purpose while serving your preference. God didn't create you to be comfortable. He created you to be effective. And the kingdom never advanced through comfort. It advances through courage, through clarity, and through kingdom conviction. And that's why I am charging you right now. Get up, Not just physically, but spiritually. Get up in your thinking. Get up in your planning. Get up in your voice. Get up in your mission. Get up in your leadership. Because your future doesn't need another follower. It needs you in full obedience, in full clarity, in full sonship, in full boldness, in full dominion. And as you activate, you will begin to see change as an ally, not a threat. Because when you are planning with kingdom authority, change doesn't surprise you, it submits to you. You'll no longer be reacting to life. You'll be orchestrating life. You'll wake up with clarity, you'll operate with strategy, and you'll lead with kingdom impact. Because planning isn't just productivity, it's prophetic partnership with heaven. You are mapping out the movements of the Spirit in time. You are cooperating with God's intention for your years, months, and days. And that's why every plan you write with heaven's guidance will carry an anointing that cannot fail. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed." That is a covenant promise. That is not a maybe. That is not a guess. That is a divine guarantee. So this is the moment you make the shift from wanderer to builder, from emotional to strategic, from burden to bold, from surviving to sending. You're not called to just make it. You're called to make something, to create, to build, to plant, to shape, to speak, to design, to lead. The kingdom needs more than churchgoers. The kingdom needs ambassadors in every sphere of life, in business, in education, in technology, in law, in medicine, in media, in family, in government, in fashion, in culture, in strategy. You must enter these domains like Joseph with dreams and administration, like Easter with courage and timing, like Daniel with wisdom and clarity, like Paul with theology and transformation, like Christ with authority and humility. Because the world won't be changed by our noise. It will be changed by our dominion. And that's why you must understand, leadership is not a position, it's a mandate. You don't lead because someone gave you a title. You lead because heaven gave you an assignment. You lead because the culture of the world depends on the clarity of the church. And I'm not talking about Sunday morning gatherings. I'm talking about the ecclesia, the called out ones, the cultural transformers, the divine disruptors who are not intimidated by darkness, but who shine brighter in it. That is you. That is what you were born for. And you have been silent long enough. You have been passive long enough. You have been comfortable long enough. Now, like Nehemiah, it's time to build. Like Elijah, it's time to confront. Like Jesus, it's time to reveal the kingdom. But hear me, this is not just a calling to do something. It's a calling to become someone. Because if God changes your calendar without changing your character, you'll sabotage your success. This is the year of integrity, of structure, of consistency, of holiness, of faithfulness, of strategy, of fasting, of clarity, of movement, of momentum. Because the blessing is not in the idea, it's in the implementation. The breakthrough is not in the prayer alone, it's in the preparation. The impact is not in the shout, it's in the strategy. So write the vision, make it plain, break it into months, break it into weeks, break it into days. Schedule your calling, architect your advancement, calculate your calendar, build your budget, structure your priorities, focus your relationships, guard your gates, protect your energy, silence every distraction, and let your plans become proof that you are not just another believer waiting for a blessing, you are a kingdom leader executing a mandate. Because this is not the year to float. This is the year to function. This is not the year to wonder. This is the year to war. And when you plan from the kingdom, you will walk in such alignment that even your enemies will be at peace with you. Now, I want to speak prophetically as I close, not with hype, but with holy charge. I believe God is about to invade every system that tried to suffocate your future. He's about to rearrange the seasons that kept you in survival mode. He's about to disrupt cycles of delay and patterns of poverty. He's about to open doors you stopped praying for. But he's only doing it for those who are ready, for those who will activate, for those who will plan, For those who will not just cry revival, but build reformation. For those who will not just want success, but straight guys propose. For those who will not just say, yes, Lord, but write the vision and run with it. And I close with this final declaration over your life. You were born for dominion. Say it again with me. You were born for dominion. You don't need to beg for favor, you carry it. You don't need to chase platforms. You are the platform. You don't need to seek approval. You've already been appointed. Heaven has signed off on your calling. Now it's time for earth to see the manifestation. Don't die with blueprints still in your belly. Don't take your vision to the grave. Don't bury your leadership in excuses. Wake up, write it, commit it, build it, execute it, plan it, speak it, finish it. This is your time. This is your season. This is your assignment. This is your activation. And the kingdom of God is counting on you